Deputy Emer Currie.
Thank you. You're welcome back. So in Dublin West, we haven't had the rollout of Bus Connects yet. The main issue for us in relation to buses is capacity and reliability. Ghost buses, disappearing buses, mystery buses, late buses, we have them all in Dublin West. So can you tell me on average how many buses are on the roads during the weekday peak times in Dublin and how that compares to 2 years ago, please?
I don't have an exact number, so I think we'll have to respond to you separately. What I can say to you, it has increased over the last 2 years substantially because we've rolled out a lot of extra services and a lot of extra fleet has been involved in doing that. But in regards to the exact number, sitting here, I don't have it exactly. I suspect it's in the 14 or 1500 vehicles range, but I think rather than give you a wrong answer, we'll contact the committee afterwards with the correct answer.
And that's in Dublin?
In Dublin, yes.
Okay, and can you tell me how many buses the NTA aims to have in the next 2 years?
You mean, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's going upwards. It's just the reason why we're not able to give you a specific answer. It does depend on when the various phases of network redesign get rolled out. So, to give one example, the O-route phase of Bus Connects, or sorry, some of the other phases that get rolled out, they will take 20, 30, 40 extra buses. And depending on when that phase gets rolled out, will tell you the number of buses you need at that particular point. It's going upwards, but just the numbers.
I would have hoped that you'd have that access to that kind of data today. We're not feeling that, though, in Dublin West in relation to buses.
We put in the C-spine on Dublin West a couple of years ago, and a lot of extra service went in as part of that.
I'm talking about Blanchardstown.
Yeah. Blanchardstown, there's a major increase to come, as you will know, in Blanchardstown under the B-spine. So the rollout of that, I think, is planned for, I think it's either next year or drifting slightly into 27. Again, perhaps we'll email with a firm date after this. But that network redesign under the B-spine will see a lot of extra service in the Blanchardstown area and all the surrounding areas there.
Why aren't we seeing that kind of increase now?
Because the routes are all changing under that network. So for us to put in the extra, a lot of the growth will be on new routes that we're putting in there, or new sections of new routes. So that can't be rolled out until we put the new routes in. The new routes, we've been slower in rolling it out than we wanted to be, largely because of resources. Drivers and mechanics are needed for every single phase we roll out, and that's held us back for a number of years. Now it's getting better, and hopefully we can roll out the next phases more quickly, but it still takes time.
I think it's very frustrating, though, for commuters that they're suffering because they don't have enough buses and they don't have enough capacity. They're not thinking about the implementation of Bus Connects. They just want to get to work or to school or to college on time. I suppose the question I want to ask is, in relation to the electrification of the bus depots, has that held back the number of buses that we have on our roads?
If I answer first just on the existing network capacity shortfalls, which is what you're touching on there, I was answering what's happening under the new network. We do try and address capacity shortfalls where we're fully aware of it. So we were quite reliant upon drivers reporting capacity shortfalls on routes until recently. Now we've developed a tool whereby using the LEAP data we have, even though it's only tag on, you don't know where people tag off, we've developed a method to deal with that. We now are in a position to identify what are the routes we need to address capacity issues. So we're working our way through that, and we'll start adding capacity to certain routes in September. Capacity requirements reduce over the summer months, as you can imagine, but will ramp up in September, October. So we'll try and address certain of the routes. We can't promise to do them all, in the autumn of this year.
Well, I put it to you that that I'm flagging capacity issues and we're not seeing the increase in buses that we need. But could you answer about the electrification of the bus depots? Because I know that there were competitions that were launched in 2021 that were cancelled. Another one that was cancelled in 2023, and that we do seem to have 3 out of 9 of our bus depots are electrified or have charging points. But is that a reason why we don't have the fleet operating that we may need in relation to capacity?
No, because what happens then, it isn't that we don't have the fleet, it's that we have to keep some older fleet. So instead of retiring a bus after 12 years, we'll have to keep it a while longer while the electrification programme catches up. So no, we are not as far advanced in electrification as we'd like to be. That's absolutely correct for the reasons you've touched on there. But in terms of fleet, what it's meant is older buses have to be kept longer. But as soon as the electrification catches up, they'll be swapped out in due course. So, you know, we're not pointing towards that as being the capacity issue. The capacity issue was largely around clarity on where we needed to put it in, and we now have a system to give that clarity. And then it is more the human resources, drivers and mechanics, that we need to operate additional services. Okay,
because some of the answers that I've got back from the NTA have said that fleet is an issue, and including the electrification of the bus depots.
I went through all of those answers and signed them all, I think, going back to you. And we are behind on the fleet. We'd like to be further advanced on the electrification. And that would have meant we'd have bought more electric buses. But as I say, what we've done instead is held on to the older diesel buses for longer while we catch up.
So we do have buses that aren't being used then? If you're saying that you're investing in fleet, but it's over time, do you have buses that aren't actually being used at the moment?
Dublin Bus have some spare vehicles available, for instance, to deal with breakdowns of vehicles off-road for traffic accidents, things like that. So there are always a number of spare vehicles available. So, and there are enough buses to enhance capacity in the way I said, come September, October. Then we've other electric buses that are under manufacture and will come on stream, and they'll be deployed as well.
Thank you.